Hello, hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Dawn Diaz, and I am so excited that you are here. I can't wait to go through this Speak Your Truth workbook with you and introduce you to the Healing Voices method so you can see what it is to be part of this amazing community. So here we are. This is our index of modules. Module 1 is all about trauma and trauma healing. Module 2, public speaking and sisterhood community. Module 3 talks on shame, talks on anger. Module 4 talks on boundaries, talks on forgiveness, talks on gratitude. This is where you can see that every week in the Healing Voices curriculum, you will be presenting a talk, a 1-minute talk on the different topics. So, just to welcome you here to the Healing Voices community, which is a branch of Milagros de Worldwide, a nonprofit organization that provides personal development and professional skills to survivors of trauma and abuse, domestic violence, childhood trauma. It's empowerment, leadership coaching, community, support groups, healing, and just women healing women and supporting each other. My name is Dawn Diaz. I am your coach for this segment, and I have over 25 years of research in the field of personal development through experiential interventions and holistic modalities. I'm the founder of Milagros de Worldwide, and I have had the privilege of guiding and supporting women through their journey of healing and shifting their victim paradigm into a full expression of freedom, joy, and purpose. So I'm so happy to welcome you to this community, and I'd love to continue meeting with you and connecting with you on social media. So please feel free to follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. Our links will be linked into the workbook. So once you download the workbook, you'll be able to link to those social media channels. And as well, here is the link for the full Healing Voices course if you decide that you want to explore it further. So module 1, all about trauma and trauma healing. So in this module, we'll get into understanding the biological responses, the science behind trauma. And for example, the limbic brain and the polyvagal theory, which are two theories that show how the brain and the body is affected by trauma. We also use The Body Keeps the Score, which is a book by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, and that book dives very deeply into how the body is affected and how trauma continues to manifest physically in our body throughout our lives. We'll also explore different sources and types of trauma, and more importantly, we'll be discovering different modalities and approaches to healing. We'll also be recognizing our resilience through meditation and spirituality, different types of spiritual practices, and especially listening to our internal emotional guidance scale. So here is an exercise that you can do, which will give you a preview and kind of just a taste of some of the tools that we use in the course. These tools are the Adverse Childhood Experiences Questionnaire and the Resilience Quiz. These two quizzes are used by the therapeutic community in finding clues about the types of trauma that you've experienced and how it has affected you throughout your life. Then module 2, public speaking and sisterhood community. So the healing power of telling your story. I want you to look at this picture. Look at these women. Look at how they're standing with such grace, with such poise, with such joy, with such pride. These are the women who were in our first cohort of Healing Voices Live, which they actually went through our 12-week course for public speaking and trauma healing. They went through all of the modules, and each week they presented a talk on the different subjects, finalizing and culminating in this beautiful public event at a TV studio where they had their talks professionally filmed. And you can find those talks on YouTube at the link that we've provided. And so the community that is formed is a lifelong sisterhood that has been going on for years through Milagros de Worldwide, and now it's solidified and enhanced through Healing Voices. So this part of telling your story is really cathartic and it's really life changing, because many people with PTSD have a social anxiety that impacts on their professional lives at work, at school, and their personal lives as well. And so in working with survivors of trauma and abuse for more than 10 years, what we saw was that the most pivotal moments in their healing was when they were able to speak freely in front of a group and inspire others. This was where Healing Voices was born, and our graduates have spoken at events, at conferences, and even to the media. And throughout this presentation, you will see the beautiful photos of these ladies in their full expression, and you'll also see some testimonials and quotes from women who have been through the course. So this is an exercise for you to actually do so that you can start your wheels turning and start asking yourself some very, very simple questions that can actually spark what you would like your story to be about, what key points you would like to share in your story. So one, what makes you really interesting? Two, who has been the greatest positive influence in your life? Three, what has been the lowest point in your life? And four, what is your impossible dream that you desire with all your heart? Next, we will go into our talks on shame and anger. So, the quote here by Brene Brown, it says, "Guilt says you made a mistake. Shame says you are a mistake." And that is actually a breakthrough that a lot of us have had when we realize the difference between guilt and shame. And so in this module, you'll be able to discover and observe how shame operates in your life and reinforces the limiting beliefs that has stifled your creativity. You will also be able to name your ego, which is a key, crucial part in the shifting of the victim mentality, in the shifting of the your lack of confidence, and it will actually take you out of that role that the ego plays in keeping you full of worry, fear, sadness, and suffering and sabotage, because that's really what it is. It's the number one sabotage in your life. And then you'll also understand how anger can be a catalyst for rising out of depression and finding a better thought. Always going up the ladder, up the scale of the emotional guidance scale to find a better thought. And so here we have an exercise to help you name your ego. So you would close your eyes, breathe, and actually ask what your ego's name is. It's an intuitive. You have to just receive the name and it will come to you. And then ask yourself, what is your ego's catchphrase that keeps you from taking risks? My ego's catchphrase, my ego's name is Tiffany, and her catchphrase is, "Who do you think you are?" every time that I'm embarking on an amazing adventure, or, just going out of my comfort zone. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? And that is what the ego thinks, that they're protecting us. So they try to sabotage us by trying to protect us. It's a very, very twisted, you know, um, it's a very twisted scenario that if you do get into the Healing Voices course, we will dive very, very deeply into the ego. But here's just a very brief overview of how to try to name that ego and identify it. Because when you identify it, then you can actually see that it's separate from you. It is not you. It is a part of you, but it is not who you are. It doesn't define you, right? And so then once you understand who the ego is, then you can start looking back on decisions and reactions and actions that you've had in the past, and you can actually identify which ones were ruled by your ego, and which and how making a more conscious and aware decision would have been more productive, and then you'll be able to start making those choices going forward. Okay, then we have talks on boundaries and talks on forgiveness. So this is a mantra. I am forgiving, I am forgivable, I am forgiven. And that's a mantra of one of the coaches that's in our content. And she says, when you leave the house in the morning, say that mantra to yourself, because you're going to run into people and you're either going to need to forgive them, or you're going to need to forgive yourself at some point throughout the day. And so it's a beautiful mantra to just have in your mind. And so this chapter is about boundaries and forgiveness, but as you can see, we have four things that we need to address in this module. And so integrity and codependency are the foundation that we need to address before we get into boundaries and forgiveness. So integrity is wholeness. It's about who you are, what your word means to you, right? And it's about your authenticity. So when you are in integrity, you will recognize that when you are being authentic and when you are being inauthentic. And then codependency. So codependency, actually, see, each one of these are a step in the direction of growth, right? First you do the integrity step, then you do the codependency step, then you do the boundary step, then you do the forgiveness step. Because once you do the integrity step, then you can go into the codependency step, which is recognizing how our choices are a lot of the time based on codependency, and that's what keeps us out of integrity. That's what keeps us from being authentic, because we're not making our choices based on our own wants and our own needs. We're making a lot of choices based on other people's judgments, on other people's needs, on other people, on actually keeping other people from leaving. That fear of abandonment, right? That's codependency. And then once you understand those and once you come to terms with those, then you can go into setting healthy boundaries for yourself, which means having uncomfortable conversations and actually realizing that other people have boundaries as well. And so we need to have first boundaries with ourselves, for ourselves, with ourselves. Then we set boundaries for ourselves to other people. And then we also recognize and honor other people's boundaries as well. So once you get past the boundaries part, then is when you can actually really forgive from a freedom and from a healthy place. And that is where you begin to disentangle yourself from toxic relationships that you have continued to perpetuate even years after the person has long left your life. The person may not even be alive. And you're still carrying that toxic relationship. And so forgiveness equals freedom. And so here is an exercise to actually take you through each one of those steps, and for you to write in each one of those steps what would be the actions, the things that you would release and the things that you would put into practice in order to get you into the next step. And then talks on gratitude and talks on abundance. Abundance is your birthright. Abundance is your birthright. And the key and the path to abundance is gratitude. So gratitude is the vibration and the attraction. It's aligning yourself with the source energy to find your purpose and your prosperity. It's making a reverse bucket list so that you can actually see the things that you already have, that are so abundant in your life already, and that you can actually recognize those gifts and be able to thank and appreciate them. And then in all things give thanks. So even if things are not good, you can always find the good that comes from the bad. And so here is a little exercise where you would actually write a thank you note. This is all about gratitude, writing thank you notes to someone who has inspired you and also to someone who has challenged you, writing a thank you note to your higher power, and of course, a thank you note to yourself for your courage, for your perseverance, for, all of the amazing things, for being here, for taking this step, for actually working on yourself. This is the things that you would thank yourself for. And then, now what? Where do you go from there, right? Once you've gone through the Healing Voices course and curriculum, and you put all those things behind you, you peel those layers of limiting beliefs, now you will be able to start with a clean slate and be able to actually do a list and a bucket list and actually have a vision for where you want to be, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now. You can start that dreaming right now. You can start that visioning right now. Even if you don't join us, even if you just take this workbook and you pour through it, you read through it, you look at all the beautiful pictures, you fill in all of the blanks, and you really, really give yourself this gift. You take this gift that we are so happy and blessed to give to you, and you give that gift to yourself. And then close your eyes at the end of this process, at the end of this workbook. Close your eyes and just envision how you want to feel. What do you want to see? Where do you want to be? What do you want to smell? What do you want to hear? How do you want to feel 10 years from now? What do you want to create for yourself? What kind of life do you want? What kind of home do you want? What kind of car do you want? What kind of people do you want around you 5 years from now? And then fast forward that and just think 6 months from now, 6 months from today, where will you be? 6 months goes by in the blink of an eye. Imagine if you just take the steps, where would you like to be 6 months from now? And so this is what's possible. All you have to do is create it in your vision, in your thoughts, in your heart, in your mind, in your possibilities. And then take the actions, take the steps, one foot in front of the other, one moment at a time. And you will be amazed at the phenomenal achievements that you create for yourself. So, so I want to say thank you. Thank you for spending this time with us. Thank you for going through the workbook. Thank you for sharing your beautiful energy with us. We feel you. We appreciate you. We celebrate you. We love you and we welcome you. We welcome you into our community. And so please, again, follow us on social media. Click on the links that you'll see when you download the workbook. And also, if you're interested and you want to continue working with us and you want to embark on the Healing Voices journey, then by all means, please go into the next course. Go into click on that link and join us for Healing Voices. So my email is there as well. You can reach out to me, and I look forward to getting to know you. And also you will be able to leave some comments here so we can see your reactions, your responses, your questions, your thoughts, your suggestions, everything that is on your mind and on your heart. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have an amazing day, and I can't wait to hear from you. All right, my name is Dawn Diaz. This has been the Speak Your Truth workbook from the Healing Voices Method with Milagros Day Worldwide. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, and God bless.